President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration has introduced several economic reforms aimed at stabilizing Nigeria's economy. Since his assumption to office, he has put out several policies that should improve the economy and make life easier for Nigerians. Today on the program, we'll be reviewing how these policies are directly impacting the populace as pronounced by the government. Welcome again to Summit. Is another edition of the program. I am Jumoke Michaels. Today to discuss these issues of the economic reforms in Nigeria and how these reforms are impacting and should impact the life of Nigerians, I have a public affairs analyst and a chartered accountant in the studio. So you see that he's apt to talk about this issue. Aki Fatoke, you're welcome.
Fatunke.
Thank you. Fatonke.
Fatunke.
Fatonke. All right.
Ifa Tubeke.
All right.
Thank you very much, Jumoke.
Yoruba names are very interesting.
Oh yes. And I must say I am pleased to be on your
Summit.
bespoke Summit program.
Thank
Thanks
you
for having me.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
All right. So first of all, when we talk about economy, we want to talk about the policies, how it's impacting the lives of Nigerians. And honestly, on this discussion, I actually want us to talk about more of solutions and maybe trying to be more practical, and factual about it. Now, in your holistic opinion, so far on the effectiveness of the monetary policies implemented by President Tinubu's administration in addressing economic issues, what is your holistic opinion so far?
My holistic opinion, Jumoke, will be such that you can liken to a patient that is ill and rushed into the emergency theater. The doctor has to be apt, has to be compassionate, has to also understand the fact that the life of this patient hangs in the balance. In economics. Therefore, you talk about reforms. And I like your intro. I dare say, in my honest opinion, there is nowhere in the world where you are going to have reforms either from retrogression to stability to growth that does not come with a lot of pains. So in this emergency theater, therefore, there has to be some pain. Trying
Discomfort.
to put some things. There also has to be some time that you can call the healing process. If I put this at the background, and I would say that holistically, cobweb manner of problem identification, Nigeria was in a dire state. Nigeria was in a bubble. We had micro and macro economic indicators that we were tinkering with, kind of lying to ourselves. We were eating our cake before we could bake it. And so all developmental goals, there are 17 of them, SDG, were showing red. And one of the monetary policies that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu introduced since May 29, one, to look at how to curb inflation, two, how to attract foreign direct investment, and three, how to now stabilize this patient for growth. My simple answer, holistic answer to your response is, to your question, is yes. They were necessary, they were in dire, but they had challenges. Now those challenges, the way and manner we have tried to tackle those challenges, given the kind of osmotic nature of Nigeria, amoebic nature of Nigeria,
changing shape,
was something else. I think what you would like to hear and what I must convincingly say without any shred of doubt is that there is pain, okay? There is anger, and we haven't seen elements of holistic leadership by example. But that patient has to go under the knife leaves no one in doubt. Definitely, we can be talking about the challenges too, because you said we should be looking at the solutions. I think they were necessary. I also think that political economy-wise, if you look at Bola Ahmed Tinubu becoming president in May 29, he had his contemporaries who were in the other parties, who also saw that the ship of state, like Awolowo said in 1983, was heading towards the rocks. So many things have to be reformed. We have to cut our coat according to size and all that, even though they come out and say that they will have done it a bit differently, but directionally, these policies that have been set today, as I speak with you, is bringing in some element of stability, is bringing in possibility, if it is maintained with the kind of discipline that I expect, will be for growth, and will be able to put more money in subnationals, in local governments, with additional reforms. If there are so many ifs.
All right, before we go into the ifs, like when the first time during the inauguration, President Tinubu removed fuel subsidy, he announced it. And of course, prices skyrocketed and all that, you know. So in the mind of every layman in Nigeria, their perception is that the effect is negative on their livelihood. Because you just talked about the effect being positive. But to the layman, ordinary Nigerians, you are saying that because you are in the finance sector. So you see behind the scenes, you see what we cannot see. Now, how would you convince the Nigerian person that all this they are going through is for their good?
Brilliant question, Jubonke. And this takes us into the philosophy. The philosophy behind the economics that makes economics to be behavioral. I go back to my analysis of a patient that is being rushed to the theater. The patient is unconscious, is unaware. But for 1 minute, that patient still has some breath. Help me, give me gas, and all that. And then a medical doctor that then comes, closes his eyes, apply the anesthesia, because he believes he will be able to extend that patient's life. Even though the patient says, no, just give me the gas now. So we have to try and do a balance. How do I convince? I convinced like my grandmother convinced me when I was crying vehemently and I was going to be virtually forced into the primary school. What the hell is this, mommy? What have I done?
Every child.
I remember that very well.
Yes.
And then I saw teachers with cane and all. I understood that my grandmother too was a disciplinarian. But 1 cane and I'm now seeing 4 canes. I mean, this is like wanting me to go into suicide. And she said, no, man, I'll give you some food, I'll give you some palliatives, I'll help you and all that, but you must stay there. And it's a cost that you must face for you to now be able to be a man that I think I am now, you and elsewhere. On May 29, 2023, and please, let's leave the masses now. We, that we call ourselves the middle class, the educated elites, were aware, even though we slept on it, that subsidy on PMS, petroleum motor spirits, was already gone. Yes, it's true that appropriation still said, wait for 1 month. After 1 month, it's gone. In other words, the pains that we are passing through or the sudden shock, and my admittance, in all honesty, that prices skyrocketed 300%, sometimes 400%, was true, we would have been able to delay it for just 1 more month. And maybe at that point in time, if we didn't do all the things that we need to do, maybe it was corrected, some 300 basis points or percentage. In other words, we need to force ourselves to do that. And I'm going to say something here, which I have said elsewhere, and which has not been very, very popular. And I say that because of my background. I have a background in oil and gas, and I know that for sure the issue of subsidy or no subsidy has gone on for ages, including refinery issues. It is a political thing that if you do not get out the scalpel, you will not be able to do it. I accept and I agree that communication is very, very important. So what should have happened is to announce to the patient, look, you are incurable. You are going to die. In the next 1 or 2 months, you are going to die. And if you do that, people will say you are not a leader. But that is the truth. Let us prepare that you have a cancer and you are going to die in about a month's time. However, I might be able to elongate it if we are able to agree and do something and cut off this leg to give you 2 more additional years or thereafter. So depending on how you receive this bad news, of course, when you receive the bad news, you and I, oh, God forbid, my dead body, you now go to church, you now go to mosque, you don't go to shrines, and you now begin to lie to yourself. Sometimes you are diagnosed with AIDS, and then the first thing that you want to do is, somebody gave it to me, I must give it to some other persons. We have this kind of mindset. And so, yes, Jumoke, I will tell the people, like my grandmother eventually told me when I was going to a tertiary institution. I remember you were crying like no man's business that day, but it was for your good. Please bear with me. However, I will do it by showing example. I will make sure that while you are there and the teachers are holding cane and all that kind of thing, I am not putting on my Babariga Agbada and I'm dancing and I'm faffing, I'm building castles elsewhere. You have created a wrong impression, which is exactly what I think this present government, in adopting the right approach, however, have
missing it.
Yes, that's what when people say that we could have done it in piecemeal here and there. I don't support that because I know where I'm coming from. Time will not allow me to tell you that at critical times in this country, there was a particular critical time when President Olusegun Obasanjo in the second coming was going to open his eyes and fix part of the refinery issues. You and I said no, it will not happen. And so we came back to square one and went back to eat our vomit. But point is, yes, we have to have done a lot of communications in 2012. Remember, a lot of communications were done. You remember Okojo Iweala, you remember Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, you remember all the town halls. We all did all what we needed to do. We still ended up at Ojota. You have to continually show people, and you have to continually let them know why they are. I mean, when I was put in the primary school, after 6 years, after 2 years, I started, meeting beautiful people like you in class. You are better than me and better than you. We started good competition, and then we played bands, we played football, we played games and all that. I said, after all, school is not so bad at all. While the people who are doing the reforms make sure that my fees are being paid. The exact thing should have happened here.
That's talking about walking the talk.
Not only walking the talk, by walking the talk and setting example. So I am not going to go in there, and the first thing I am going to do is to start to buy cars for myself, my family, my friends. I'm not going to go there and say the house that I think
it's not befitting.
It's not befitting. I won't, even though, Jumoke, there might be rationale for it. There might be, I said. But that rationale, the perception, is greater than their reality.
Especially when you hear the cost being put into such projects.
So, and then you are asking me to tighten my belt, and you are doing that. Even if I think you are the best medical doctor on earth, you came into that emergency theater and you are chewing gum, I would think that you are not kind of serious. You needed holistic seriousness. And don't forget, you and I and our viewers and listeners are Nigerians. There are a set of people that I have not seen anywhere in the world who are resilient, who take in a lot of shocks. But when you push people to the wall, to that extent, what then do you get? The poor will not end up eating the rich. So to the poor people, to the Talakawas, to the Holoi Polois, I would say we had a good stabilization to growth policies. We have eaten our cakes, including
the ones of
ourselves. We are heading to the rocks. We must stop, and I am going to start the process of showing that example. I am going to cut down, and then the people will say, no, we can't do that, we don't want you to be killed. No. I'm going to cut down so that I can show that as good examples, and please, I want you to follow me. Follow me, you people, because we must restructure our governance system such that it's just not going to be the federal, it's not just going to be the state. We must look at the constitution, make it to be fit for purpose, recognizing the fact that we are different tribes, we have different tongues. I want to go right, Jumoke, you want to go to go left, within your power. If you go left and I go right, are we going to be able to reach our destination? No. We now need to try and build some kind of consensus. It's a long-term race. So I would say, therefore, because we spoke about solution, in economics, we talk about sunk costs.
Sorry, sir.
It's gone.
Sorry, sir.
Can we begin to now then?
Sorry, Aki. You said I should not use this.
Yes. That
all right. Okay, so but before we land at that point,
yes.
This administration continues to widen the tax net. You know, there's also talk now that from 2026, we're going to be paying 5% when you buy fuel from 10,000 naira. And the reason they gave for that is that to improve on infrastructure and drive the economy, because like they say, the country is broke. Now, when you talk about this tax net being widened and all that, will this actually promote economic growth and development to make life easier for these same people that we're talking about?
Jumoke, yes and no. Nowhere in the world that you don't get the kind of taxation that we try to talk about, either widening the tax net, because those are the areas that you can get things for development. Developmental economics still talk about, and I'm going to come back to the 5% surcharge tax that you are talking about. First of all, what I prescribe in my opener is to start and say, we have to, those who avoid taxes, those who are not paying taxes now, we must find a way to bring them into the tax net. However, we must not kill, the hen that is laying the golden eggs. The poorest of the poor, this same tax, on the other side, is saying they should not pay taxes at all. Let's recognize that. I like that, but those who the nobles rich should pay a bit more of a tax so that we can then use that one for development. In the specific example of the tax, the tax surcharge on PMS, I would delay it a bit much more further. Not because I don't think it should be there. Don't forget, that particular tax was already being imposed on FEMA, Federal, Road Maintenance Agency thing and all that. We are not seeing the direct impact. So you unplug it there with the hope that this is now going to spread to more and more people and then bring in additional money into the coffers that with accountability and transparency should be able to help us in our infrastructures, in our educations, in our JAPA, in the strike scene and all that. I tell you something. I was on your type of seat some years back. We had an ICANN conference, and one of Nigeria's golden, superb guy, Dr. Akinwumi Adesina, he flew all the way, and I had to interview him. So I was the anchor for our ICANN on air. And part of the thing I said, bro, look, we can't now be thinking of wanting to tax. He said we have to do it, but we need to try and make sure that we plug all the loopholes, and that is the truth of the matter. You and I, me inclusive, are not trusting that by the time we begin to do these things, what am I going to see? A president that will travel on vacation somewhere, I call it a working vacation. A president and his kitchen cabinet all smiling to the banks and all that kind of, and riding and changing their cars. Even if you want to tell me it's not from my surcharge, you want to tell me that I should believe that is what you are doing, we need holistic, something similar to what when we had educational trust fund. Educational tax. We call it educational tax. Now moved on to what we call educational trust fund, and that's what eventually became TED fund. That we said, okay, the universities, let's find a way before corruption came into it again. So what ordinarily a few people will be enjoying and smiling to the bank, they said, look, plug it away from there. Let's plug it into a situation where we can have auditable, accountable, transparent, leading by example. That is not the time, for instance, I cannot believe, and one of the reasons why I said I'm going to delay it, okay, is, okay, so you are going to be giving us a charge. And then at the latest instance, I hear that you are going to be increasing the salaries of, or you are proposing according to law.
Yeah.
You lost me. You lost me. So I am saying, do as I say, and I must do as I say. I must walk the talk. I must be seen to show example. If the kind of courts, the facts and courts that I mentioned earlier were to be anything, Nigerians will embrace it and say, we trust, we believe you are going to do what you need to do. As I speak with you, Jumoke, political economy, there are certain individuals in this country, okay, I don't have to mention names, by the nature of their austere lifestyle. Somebody like a Peter Obi, for instance, I'm just as an example, people will be, because they see him walking certain talk. When he gets there, it may be different, but walking certain talk, and they believe him. Likewise, in all what we are saying, you tell us, for instance, we're going to take that surcharge and all that kind of stuff, and I can tell you in 4 months' time, we are going to have
the results.
Institutional medical laboratories, the likes that we had at one point in time in this country, that everybody was coming into Nigeria. We are going to have it done.
Because if you look at that 5%, it's not small money.
It cannot be.
It's huge.
1% is not 0.01% is not small money. In terms of the quantum, what are you going to be doing with it? What kind of example? What kind of trust? And then in any case, Jumoke, bottom line is this. You cannot be thinking that you want to build a house that has a problem in the structure. Yes, I've agreed that you are going to go through pains, you are going to go through, and all that. But we must see that in such ways and manner, when I say it is white, it is white. Right. When I say it is money, it is money. If I say I'm going to curtail, I curtail. You will not say certain things and then we see you doing different things and expecting. And you cannot put an old wine in a new wine skin. It will burst. You cannot put a new wine in an old wine skin. It will burst. What should happen holistically is now to look at the structure of Nigeria, political, economic-wise, so that we can now begin to now apply some of these policies. One of them, for instance, is the issue of dovetailing state police. Okay, part of it also is local government autonomy. Part of it also is the tax reforms that we are talking about. Part of it also is that you sit and look at the behemoth NMPC that is not working and fit for purpose. Let's restructure it. Part of it is the monetary policy itself that I think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, when he came on May 29, 2023, said that we are going to look at CBN. We are going to try and probe CBN. We are going to put structure in place and introduce somebody I call a headmaster. If he's listening to here, he will laugh because that's what we used to call him in the industry. Headmaster. What, therefore, should we be doing? Sustain that and then making sure, like the president is pleading with some national government, please do something. And I'm happy at what I'm seeing in Niger State with Bagbo. I'm happy at what I'm seeing with lithium in Nasarawa. I'm happy with the kind of Greek revolution that should be coming from Oyo State. I am particularly happy at the textile that is happening in Peru, in Ogun State. When all these things begin to come together and we can all put our heart and our minds to it, there is going to be a happier tomorrow. You may not see it today, and because you don't see it, I must recognize the fact that I have 4 eyes, you have 2, Abi, or you don't have eyes at all. I must therefore take care of you. I must find, there's no economy that is not with some subsidies. I must find a situation where I take care of the food and hunger. I believe, I have a faith, I'm not in government. I have a faith that something that happened during IBB's time, that's Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida, when we had issues surrounding food, we had to kind of open our borders. What we are doing now is that we are closing borders in some parts, we are opening borders in some parts, it's not going to help. Let's make sure that before the plants grow, that we have grown, our people should not continue to go hungry. I have a feeling something is going to happen from 2026. We're now in 2025.
All right. So in all of this, the people is our focus, like I said.
Yes.
What will be your candid advice to the people as we wind up the discussion?
One, because the people that are ruling us at all levels, whether at the center, whether at the state, whether at the local government, whether at the traditional level, whether main political parties, whether in opposition, we people as citizens must always rise to make sure we put their feet to fire. We must continually let them know how we feel. It's difficult. A good book that we call the Bible says, pray for your leaders. It's not a mistake sometimes. Pray for them to have the good mindset to recognize that people are crying and life should not just be for them alone. So we must continually be part of making sure we do what we need to do to safeguard our environment, to safeguard when we see something, we say it and all that, to put them on their toes. After that, I would say Nigeria Because when you say people,
Yeah, the
we are
Nigerians.
we are different and we are looking at things differently. The way some people in one area is looking at it is different from the way people out there are looking at it. We must be very much interested, even though we see our elections don't count, the quality of people that go into our state and national assemblies. People will go there for our sake, not necessarily for their sakes. And then finally, like my grandmother told me from that onset, just bear. In 2 months' time, in 2 years' time, in 6 years' time, you are going to reap the benefit of the sacrifice you are making now. So we must, as a people, therefore begin to say, yes, this much we have sacrificed. Yes, you've told us that a number of some national governments are paying minimum wage. The minimum wage is not going on and begin to see competition. One particular government says it's going to pay over 100,000 naira. Why can't others? Some in their jurisprudence are better than others. We have blue lines, we have red lines. Can we begin to now get ourselves together that no matter what as citizens, we should not be over angry to destroy even the little that we have. Keeping our eyes on the ball, I'm very sure if regimes, governments at the federal and at all states level are not doing what we need to do, please let's be ready with our PVC. Yes, you say your votes will not count. This one has been bought, that one has not been
Still
bought.
votes. What's your conscience?
If you do not go out there to vote, you have just left it for them. So let's make sure that apart from praying, apart from keeping hope alive, and apart from sustainability on ourselves, don't let us continue to consume and consume. Let's learn a few tricks. Our students are not, in the universities per se, The NEL fund that is coming, please, let's be focused to make sure that we do it with the fear of God, and it should be for the poorest of the poor. It may be little drop in the mighty ocean, but eventually we are going to be able to get there.
Thank you.
Together, the right hand and the left hand, when they clap, is when you are going to hear a sound. One cannot clap by itself. And the black keys and the white keys will come to give an orchestra. Individually, they can make sounds.
Thank you.
So if we do some of these things out there and we say truth to ourselves and we say truth to power, when they do bad things, we rise up and say they are doing bad things. So when they come into our environment, we'll be able to get there.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, Aki.
Thank you, Jumoke. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. So we've been discussing with Aki Fatonke. He's a public affairs analyst and also a chartered accountant. So he's seeing what we cannot see or what the laymen cannot see. But like he said, let's keep hope alive. Thank you again.
Thank you, Jumoke.
All right, so we'll move on to the next segment on Summit like we always do, showcasing some of the good things that Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu is doing and accomplishing in Lagos State. We'll take that, and of course, that will bring us to the end of the program today. I am Jumoke Michaels. Have a good day. Bye-bye.